Well, welcome back to the Friday film. This is part 2. If you've missed part 1, you can always pause this and go back to a week ago. Not physically, obviously, that would involve some sort of complex time travel. But you go to a week ago and watch part 1, where we introduce Ferida from Entraide, who you're about to meet. And she talks a bit about the work they do. And we just riff generally on the state of the world. And it's very good. Well, I say it's very good. She's very good, and Entraide are very good. So I hope you enjoy the rest of what she has to say.
We supported them.
So tell us what Entraide do then, because I think Entraide are superstars. I'm not just saying that. I think you're great. I think what you do is fantastic, and so important. You know, it's so human what you do. And so can you just share a bit about that?
Okay. So, Entraide really, I would say, is if you look at our values on our website, they involve empowerment, justice, support, and all that. So we actually apply that in our work. Want to make sure that where there is no justice, if we feel that a system is failing an individual, we can advocate on their behalf. So we do a lot of casework support. Meaning, if we meet someone for the first time, whether they've come through, they just walked in, first time, or they've come through an appointment, through evacuation, first and foremost is to welcome them, have some empathy, listen to their story, and make an initial assessment. That way, we know the right path as to where they can go, because each individual case is different. So we handle cases differently as they come. Want to understand their background, and then we will establish what course of action to take to help them. So most of our clients are not, like I said, they're diverse asylum seekers, refugees, yes, but we have people who flee also domestic abuse. They could have been here for a while. They're not a new arrival, but circumstances change, a marriage breakdown. It could be someone experiencing a student visa application. We accommodate a whole lot of people, but our services involves making sure people know and understand their rights and entitlement. People understand social rules, because where they're coming from, they might not know that even throwing litter in public is a criminal offense. Most of them don't know, but within our work, we provide that kind of service and knowledge to make sure they know how to use the bus, they know the social rules, how to carry themselves in the public, how to talk to people, and all social rules and social policies are embedded.
And those small things are important as well, aren't they? Because I'm usually scared of going abroad, because I don't, partly the language stuff, I don't know what to say, and also you do. It's that stereotyping we have about other nations, isn't it? And it's not really. It's us thinking that, but actually this is just the cultural way of expressing. I went to Poland a few years back, and I'll be reading about Poland because I thought it was fantastic. But the language to the British ear is very quite assertive. So you hear them, you think, are they angry? But they're not.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, this is a side issue. I'm fascinated by how language sounds to other, when you can't speak a language, when you hear someone speaking French, you can kind of imitate the noises. And there's this great song called Pries and Colors. But basically it's an Italian, it's from the 70s. And what he does is he sings a song in what he says, what he thinks American English sounds like. But it's all nonsense words. But when you're listening to it, you think, oh, that sounds like English. But it isn't. It's just nonsense. So it's really, that's what our language, or English, sounds like to an Italian. It's all sort of, okay. It's very, very interesting. So my point, I think, is that we make assumptions that everyone behaves like us, and they don't. And that sort of cultural stuff about how you speak and how you address people, a lot of it's just, cultural stuff. It's, litter, how you look at people makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yes.
So yes, it's very interesting. So for people to feel confident in that makes a difference, because again, people just make, they see someone behaving in a certain way and think, oh.
Exactly. Even the way people dress, we've also, I've learned that as well through working with our clients, that some people, who particularly women who cover their face, it's not all religious, it's cultural.
Yeah.
That's how they carry themselves and believe that they shouldn't appear in a certain way in public. And that's how they grew up.
Yeah.
Not that they want to hide.
Yes.
No.
Yes, interesting stuff. On a more practical level, I think all that specialist help it basically is impressive because it baffles me, and it takes determination, because if anyone's ever had any dealings with the legal systems, you can't just go and go, oh, this is the issue, and they go, yeah, that's fine, we can sort that out, and then it's all done. It's never like that. It takes weeks and weeks.
It takes weeks. Each application, for example, Entraide, we make applications for support. Let me start with the application for support. For someone who's placed in a hotel, they actually still need to apply to the Home Office for support, meaning they will have to get financial support, which is £9 a week for them to buy a bus ticket or to move around.
That's it, £9 a week.
That's it, £9 a week. Now, that kind of support also, as long as it's confirmed in writing, it gives them the right to free legal advice.
Right.
So that's all they get. So our duty is to make sure that they get that support. You have to fill in an Entraide caseworker. I'm a manager, I line manage caseworkers who provide that service. To a certain extent, I do support as well in busy times. That application for that £9, it takes, we complete about maybe up to 10 pages, collecting data, collecting supporting evidence as to why they think they have to prove destitution and homelessness. And after completion, the application takes about 5 to 6 weeks to process for them to start getting that £9.
Yeah.
In most cases, again, it's not straightforward. There may be delays from the Home Office. One may take up to 3 months still waiting. That's where we come in as Entraide advocate, send emails to the Home Office, trying to rectify if there's been a mistake or some administration errors. Now, also, we point them we help them to register with local immigration advisors. There's hardly any immigration advisors available. Way back 12 years ago, Birmingham had lots of offices for solicitors, but due to funding cuts, maybe there's about 4. As compared to previous years where we had massive numbers of legal representatives, maybe up to 50 just in Birmingham only, but cut down to 4.
Just getting
nothing in Solihull.
So the resources are sparse as well in terms of what you need, just that specialist stuff.
Just that specialist support, it's hard to find now.
Yeah. So
whoever is supporting now, we only affiliated with about 3 firms. They would tell us that, look, we can only take maybe 30 cases.
Yeah.
And we have, in each hotel, you have about 200 and something people. They all need the same service, but they can only take 20 or 30 at a time.
Yeah.
So again, that's a challenge. One of the support that we provide to refugees, asylum seekers, is donations. Whatever we get, we provide clothing donations, hygiene.
I was going to get onto that because, in a sense, what you provide is way beyond people like me can do. Mm-hmm. Although I walk around pretending I know everything, I actually know very little.
How you know so much?
Yeah. Well, it works. But I think for most of us, it's, well, what can I actually do? Mm-hmm. And you see some of these people and you see some of these families and it's heartbreaking. You see the news and you think, I wish I could do something. And that's one of the things I love to see here between you and Three Trees and the community around. When we've said, or you've told us you need some help, we put the call out. and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But overall, you provided people to help them get settled, to help them get clothed, to help them get the things they need, and I think that's another important aspect of your work. I don't know if it's officially part of your work.
Yes,
it is. That's all right.
It is.
But it's important that sort of basic level stuff that we all need. I mean, we forget, even just stuff like hygiene stuff, shampoo and stuff. We just take it for granted, don't you? It's 99p. If you're on £9 a week, or you've just arrived, or you're still waiting to know if you're going to get £9 a week, stuff like that is really important for your for your health and for your dignity and everything else. Isn't
Yes.
it? So, are there ways that we can help you more in this, other than sending large amounts of cash to Entraide?
There's a whole lot of ways, to be honest. If you come across a refugee and asylum seeker, we would ask that please be helpful to them in there's different ways. They need to learn English, and if you have skills to support them, even if some voluntary work, if you run a small business, even if it's a coffee shop, they can volunteer. They're allowed to volunteer while they are waiting for the Home Office to decide on their cases. So those are some of the ways you can help. If you have second-hand decent clothing, we appreciate that. Hygiene packs, and connecting and making friends. For example, if you have children who are maybe over 18, encourage them to make friends so that these people can build confidence and learn more about what's happening in the community. It could be a local community group, football, let them get engaged. That way they integrate, they will understand the systems, they will understand the culture and blend in. You'll be surprised what you can get out of that. So it's not just about the money really, even the clothing, but just to embrace them and help them through that integration process.
I think what you're saying is just be a decent human being with other human beings. There you go. Well, problem solved.
Yeah, they want to make friends. You can ask Olivia.
Yes.
She had that group.
Yeah, Three Trees did a project with a group last year, didn't she? With Olivia from Three Trees, she organised that, and that went really well. And that was just doing normal things. They went bowling and they went into town and had a look around. They went to the museums and stuff. Just all that stuff we take for granted.
Yeah, she spent, I think maybe more or less than 6 months with them. That whole group, I gave a feedback. They've all been granted leave to remain now. They're looking for jobs. Some of them have gone to university. So that's how it works. But then, they've been replaced by new people, new arrivals. Yeah. But there's always a positive to it. And I think I'll say some of the cases where we need help, particularly where there is challenges. These are the things that Entraide, we find it difficult to meet these needs as a small charity. It's when war happens, for example, a crisis. This is an emergency, something which is unexpected. It happens to Ukrainians. They're still settling down at the moment. So when these people arrive on an emergency, they are placed in temporal accommodation. It could be a bed and breakfast, while local authorities still wants to establish where they can place them. There's hardly any accommodation. I think we all know about the current housing crisis. It's getting worse. Now, for them to find a decent accommodation, it takes time. So they're stuck in hotels, they need hot meals. Sometimes we have some little money to support them, but it doesn't stretch because they constantly have to buy takeaway. Now, eventually, when they are moved and placed in alternative temporal accommodation, it could be a flat. When they move in, normally there is nothing, no carpet, no beds for children,
we've seen this.
No bedding. So usually we will put a call out there, say, please help. Because then it does make a difference. I mean, when you come from a war zone and you're stuck in one room in a hotel, mentally we've seen them struggle a lot. But visits as well. I've seen some of our colleagues from Three Trees paying some visits to our service users. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
When you go in, speak to them, whichever way. Even if you are holding a what do you call it, a bouquet, flowers as a gesture or nothing, they will still appreciate the fact that someone has come in, welcoming them, appreciating them, asking, about how they are in general.
Yeah. And I think it's actually an investment in the long term, isn't it, to people? So showing people that they're welcome and they're noticed and they're cared for. Almost anyone, it doesn't matter who it is, whether someone's a refugee or not, actually, anyone that moves into your community, showing them that kind of warmth is important.
Invite them for coffee.
We're going to have to wrap it up soon because we're going on. This is going to be over 2 episodes anyway, Yeah. There's so much going on here. Anyway, so I think the upshot is contact Entraide directly because they're fabulous. And from the church point of view, I think what you're doing is the kingdom of God. It's bringing hope and life and love into people's lives and into our community. And it's doing it in very practical ways. And it doesn't matter who people are. We talked about this, here's a micro sermon. Yesterday we talked about grace. It comes up a lot. And actually grace it covers all things. And grace never asks for qualifications or for reasons or, whether never checks whether you're worthy or not. And I think that's the way certainly us as a church I'd like us to be, and as a community centre as well, of whether you're of faith or not linked here. I think when people come in that need some sort of support, you just do it.
Yeah.
And partly because you never know when you might need support, do you? We're only the saying is you're only 2 or 3 pay packets away from being homeless yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or illness strikes or something. But also just if your life's full of positive relationships and support and grace, actually that grows you, doesn't it? Anyway, that's a weird sermon, wasn't it?
Yeah. Before we close,
before we go,
so our service isn't just about the legal aspect of it.
No.
Obviously, like I said, we provide emotional support. We have a befriending project within Entraide, where one feels lonely or isolated. We always match them with a befriender to make sure they have someone to talk to. The challenge is that at times we don't have male befrienders, but that's one of the services that we provide. In the past 2 years, we've had funding for well-being and social activity groups, children and family activities. So we took people on trips. That really helped a lot of people. But unfortunately, our funding ended in December. So should something come up, we'll let you know.
Do
that. But then again, if there's something happening in your own communities, do let us know. We will invite them. Like the famous Charlesmont.
Oh, Chairman's Day.
Chairman's
Famous.
Day, yeah. I like that event. Yeah. So if you're holding an event like that, most of our service users who attended, they found it very fascinating because it's different culture. We're taking videos.
I find it fascinating every year as well.
Yeah.
It's the Morris dancers, isn't it? It's like, what
exactly
is that?
So if there's anything happening in the community, also do let us know. We will signpost to your services so that at least our services get the best of both in the community, not just from Entraide, because there's a whole lot of other things we cannot provide. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ferida. That's really interesting. I could genuinely have gone on longer, but this is social media. You can only go for so long.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to chop this down into 10,000 TikToks now. Anyway, thanks to Ferida. So look at their website. It's Entraide.
Entraide. And if you are within the building, pick one of our leaflets. If you come to Three Trees, we have our leaflets by the door. And
they are superstars. So if you see anyone that works for Entraide,
and if you have any
give them a wave and buy them a coffee.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to pop in. I'm normally here Monday to Thursdays.
Oh yeah.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anything.
Any.
Sport. Anyway, thanks for it. Bless you, and the rest of the staff team. Felix, who's the chair, I know he's very hands-on in terms of working with the organisation as well. But all of the staff team and your volunteers and your trustees, yeah, it's noticed. I think without you here, there'd be a big hole in our community, and I think what you do is fantastic. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.